to present your question.
I want to ask the Minister, Alaskan Corla, about her department's approach to the inclusion of people from the traveller community in funding for the arts, and why recently, when I asked a question in respect of this, in relation to traveller artists specifically, the question was unfortunately referred by the Minister to the Department of Justice. And this was a question which covered aspects of funding which are actually disbursed by the Minister's own department.
The Minister's 2 minutes.
Thank you, Alaskan Corla. The travelling community has a rich culture with unique traditions and crafts which are an integral part of the heritage of this community. And my department and several of the bodies under its remit have a number of initiatives to support the recording and celebration of traveller culture and heritage, including the Travellers' Journey exhibition presented by the National Museum of Ireland. And 150,000 was allocated to the development and realisation of the Travellers' Journey exhibition at the National Museum of Ireland in County Mayo in 2018. And the MMI, the National Museum, is funded from my department's vote, and the allocation for the Travellers' Journeys exhibition accounted for some 50% of the museum's exhibition development budget in 2018. And the exhibition, which ran for a year, was opened in July by President Michael D. Higgins and included a series of events and talks on aspects of traveller culture and identity. And the museum has also been involved in a number of other events and initiatives over the last number of years in partnership with the traveller community, and is in the process of establishing a steering group of museum staff and representatives of the traveller community to inform its permanent exhibitions and the representation of traveller culture and heritage in its upcoming History of Ireland galleries. And on the 18th of July last, I launched the permanent National Inventory of Intangible Cultural Heritage, which celebrates the living cultural heritage practices in Ireland. And this initiative represents official state recognition of cultural practices all around Ireland, two of which are traveller tinsmithing and cant or gammon, which is the traditional language spoken by Irish travellers. And the development of the National Inventory of Ireland's Intangible Cultural Heritage is an integral part of my department's work under the 2003 UNESCO Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage, which requires signatory states to recognise, protect and promote the living cultural heritage of their countries. And so, following on from the launch, my department showcased a number of traditions on the National Inventory over 3 days at the 2019 National Ploughing Championships. And one of the exhibitors was renowned tinsmither Tom McDonnell, who exhibited the crafts and skills of tinsmithing in my department's marquee, drawing huge interest from visitors to the marquee.
Minister, interrupt you. The being fuiled and fragras and lagan.
Well, in view of the answer that the Minister has given in terms of quoting extensively from documents and publications by her own department, of her own department's funding for travellers and for traveller artists, I would actually like the Minister to apologise to the traveller community for refusing to take pretty much the same question on the 3rd of October and having it transferred to the Department of Justice. Now, I noticed in what the Minister said there that she does not have in her department, she's now going to establish a committee in the National Museum in terms of traveller culture. But what travellers want to see is an actual subcommittee of her department which actually addresses traveller artists, musicians, performers, playwrights and people who make TV productions. And I'm sure the Minister possibly has met many of the people involved. And I'd like the Minister to actually say why she refuses to engage with travellers, other than in terms of programmes she's actually inherited rather than created.
Minister, 1 minute.
Deputy, there's nothing to apologise for in terms of the question that you refer to, which I know you referred to the Ceann Comhairle, which was transferred from my department to the Department of Justice. And there's a very simple reason for that. And the reason, as you know, and we wrote back to the Ceann Comhairle yesterday to explain this, and I believe that you've also been given some further information from my department on it. The simple reason is that Minister David Stanton is the lead, and the Minister for Justice, or the Department of Justice, is the lead department in relation to the traveller culture and identity and heritage in overall terms. So while my department, or the Department of Culture, Heritage and the Gaeltacht, participates in the National Traveller and Roma Inclusion Strategy Steering Group, it is only one of a number of departments delivering on the commitments included under the heading, as I said, Traveller, Cultural Identity and Heritage, and is supported and valued within Irish society. And the Department of Justice, as I said, has the lead role for the overall strategy. And it's noted that in Minister Stanton's reply to you, Deputy, on that occasion, he noted that my department is responsible for specific allocations of funding in certain areas, which you alluded to there. And indeed, the department has provided details of funding for specific projects in arts and heritage for the traveller community in response to previous PQs. I'll just finish, Yasin Comhairle. For example, in question number 102 of the 23rd of January 2018, which came from Breed Smith.
Thank you. Your explanation, Minister, if I may say so, is seriously deficient, and it's also an insult to traveller artists. Are there other artists that your department deals with who, when they raise issues, their issues are referred to the Department of Justice? I've no issue with Minister Stanton. He's excellent in his role, and I made that clear. But what Ceann Comhairle, in his letter to me, said, and I want to read it out: I can understand the frustration of transfers of PQs, such as the ones cited by you, because this was funding by your department. You make cogent argument in your letter to me as to why the PQ should have been answered by the Minister for Culture rather than the Minister for Justice. Now, you have given yourself to remarks on previous occasions about traveller housing and about other issues connected to travellers, and I am asking you, as the Minister who has responsibility for culture in this country, why, A, will you not directly answer questions in relation to travellers, including the question previously rejected by you? And secondly,
Minister will respond.
Why will you not set up an interdepartmental committee in your department, bringing together people like traveller musicians, traveller actors, traveller writers, and other travellers who are artists, and they're deserving of your recognition and your respect as Minister for Culture.
Minister will respond. Just 1 minute.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you feel that way, Deputy, but it is a technical matter between I beg to differ with you, Deputy, and it's certainly not coloured by my own views in relation to travellers at all, and I'm sure you're not suggesting that. And we have written back to the Ceann Comhairle in relation to this. And, you know, the national cultural institutions, which are under my department's remit, and the Arts Council have a number of initiatives to support the showcasing and celebration of traveller culture, which is supported by funding from this department. So I trust that should clarify the position in relation to this department's role in the implementation of the traveller and Roma inclusion strategy, which I alluded to, and the reason for the approach taken in respect of your question, which was tabled. And as I said, I've also provided you directly with information in regard to specific projects, Deputy, in Arts and Heritage for the traveller community, funded by my department. Suffice to say, it's something that we're very aware of in my department, and the traveller culture, going back to the intangible culture and heritage list, tinsmithing and cant and gammon has now been enshrined, if you like, and looked after and protected for future generations, which is extremely important in terms of the travelling community. And also, just to finish, last Ceann Comhairle.
I'm not going to continue.
I'm just going to finish with this, just to say that I was present in the Dáil when Enda Kenny, the previous Taoiseach, allowed ethnicity for the traveller community here in March 2017.
Listen, before we take the questions, there has to be some respect for the chair. No, hold on. You might be finishing your sentence, Minister, but there has to be respect. And there, no.
ethnicity. And
move on.
I was there. I was
I'm moving
furnished
on
at
to the
time.
next question.
It was a decision of the collective Dáil celebrated
Agus
by people far and wide. It wasn't allowed.
Listen, can you were still learn clug, Eve Shigulier, and Aragus Nadini Ella, and Ked Castello on Chakta.